One of the things that I really wanted to do was be a part of the best team ever. And I wanted to be the best version of myself. I mean, you only get one shot in life, so why not be part of the best? And special operations, they're the tip of the spear, and I just felt like it would be an honor to serve alongside the elite of the United States military. My name is Damon Friedman. I served 20 years in the military, 5 years in the Marine Corps. My last unit, I was at 2nd Force Recon. I crossed over into Special Warfare, Air Force Special Operations Command as a Special Tactics Officer. Throughout my years, I operated as a JTAC. I've also was a mission commander for Afghanistan, as well as a squadron commander, and retired out as the Director of Future Operations at Special Operations Command Central. And once I retired, I decided to focus all of my energy to combat the suicide epidemic. So we found SOF Missions, where we provide free high-end medical care to veterans across the nation. So what we ended up doing is deploying a lot. 9/11 hit. I'm sure everyone can remember where they were at 9/11, and it was deployment after deployment after that. Everything got worse every deployment, especially the more combat that I experienced. And eventually, I ended up bringing the war home, and unfortunately, destroying the very things that I love most, and that's my family and the people that I love, my friends, my community. When I started realizing that my life was unraveling, it was a 2010 deployment to the Korengal Death Valley, which was considered the most dangerous place in the world. That was a battle that completely affected me. It came to an implosion where all of a sudden I found myself in the most darkest place, thinking the most darkest things. When I came back from that deployment, a lot of us think about suicide. I struggled with suicidal ideations for quite some time. And there just comes to a point where you just don't want to experience the pain anymore. And that's just the fact. You know, you don't want to wake up anymore feeling that. You don't want to live throughout the day feeling that. You don't want to go to sleep feeling that. And I'm going to be honest with you. At that point, my wife, we were struggling to the point where, you know, she didn't want to be around me. I had my own children. I wasn't a really good father. I wasn't a really good husband. Actually, I wasn't really a good person. And I just felt that, you know what? I served my country. I'm worth a lot of money dead. Probably the best thing to do now is just to, you know, just to do it. And I remember sitting there on that couch. I had that round in the chamber. It was on my lap. And that wasn't the first time that I ever did that. But it was in that evening, I was gonna do it. I was sick and tired of dealing with the pain. I was sick and tired of dealing with the loss. I was sick and tired of even dealing with myself. I didn't like who I was. And at that very moment, I grabbed that gun. And then all of a sudden, in that dark, dark time, I heard a voice. And that voice said, I have great plans for you. Plans to win and persevere, not to lose. And I'll tell you right now, that's what saved me. And I took that gun, I went and I secured it, and I made a command decision that night that I was going to get help.
After he got out of the military, so obviously when you go into the military, you see stuff, you have to do stuff, and you know, and it carries on outside of the military. But I think sometimes my dad is really emotional about it, and sometimes doesn't know how to share feelings with other people, so kind of just keeps him to himself because he doesn't really like show it sometimes. But I've definitely seen that maybe because of war and stuff, it's definitely made him more emotional.
I never thought that I could get out of that hole, you know, every night dreaming about the war. So I started thinking, you know, how in the world am I going to get help? I didn't trust my command, like many of us do. I didn't want to highlight that I had some mental health issues. I didn't want to be grounded. So I started reaching out privately to some friends, and just for the first time, I started telling them about what I was struggling with. It surprised them because on the outside, everything is good, right? Everything, I'm high functioning, I'm doing well outside, but my friends, they said, you know what, we got your back. And then one day I just realized, you know what, I got one shot in life. I need to make it count. And so after that year, I had a complete paradigm shift and I got redeployed. Isn't that crazy that as soon as you start feeling better, you go right back into the hornet's nest? But this was different. I'm there in Afghanistan, and then all of a sudden that very month, I hear about 3 suicides within our military community. And I said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of it. I want to do something about it. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I get this vision. What would it look like if I could be part of the solution? And I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I can make a greater impact. Maybe I can make an atomic impact if I got out. And I started helping all these veterans. When you finally leave the military, right? I was still CrossFitting. I was still trying to like break the Murph world record. And I felt alone. The structure was gone. I was still disciplined. I was still consistent, right? I'm working in our nonprofit. I'm helping all these veterans to find hope and to be resilient. Lives are being radically changed and transformed, psychologically, physically, socially, spiritually. I mean, we're making nuclear impact. My entire team is incredible, but I felt alone. I couldn't put my finger on it. And what I realized is I was looking for a tribe. You know, I kind of lost mine. And I just felt lost every workout. And then finally, my buddy Brendan shows up, Navy vet. He's like, you know what you need, man? You need jiu-jitsu.
My name's Brendan Sheehan, and I'm an ambassador and athlete mentor for We Defy Foundation. And I found We Defy Foundation after I went through the clinic, and I was like, wow, I could be an ambassador for We Defy. I could be an athlete mentor. I could help other veterans going through mental problems. And I read studies on jiu-jitsu and mental health, and it was just like, I gotta be part of this. But I kept kind of texting Damon and talking to Damon when I saw him, like, hey, when you gonna start jiu-jitsu? Hey, because he was giving help to everybody. And in my mind, my thought process, I was like, he needs jiu-jitsu. He needs this outlet. I saw he did a lot of CrossFit, he did a lot of running, and I kept telling him, it's not the same. It's not the same. You're gonna be changed when you start jiu-jitsu. You gotta start jiu-jitsu. So I kind of kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until he made the decision that, yeah, now's the time.
And Brendan kept bugging me. Man, he kept bugging me. It was like once a month and once a week, then almost every day. He's like, dude, you gotta try jiu-jitsu. It's gonna change your life.
So I'm like, come to my place. You know, I got mats. We'll throw them in the garage. You know, we'll train and I'll go through stuff, basic stuff with you. And it just kind of spiraled. He would come here, we train in the garage, and that's how that happened.
So finally one day I'm like, all right, fine, let's get after it. I met up with him over at his house, and he got me this We Defy gi. Like, he just shows up, he's got this We Defy gi, it's green, right? And he's like, he hands it to me. He's like, dude, today's day one. I didn't even, Brady, what are you talking about? I just came over, I'm gonna just feel it out, see if this is for me. No, man, he was all in. He slapped that gi on me, and there was a white belt. I'm gonna tell you something about the white belt. There's something beautiful about that white belt. I realized that there was a level of respect in jiu-jitsu, and we started rolling, and I realized that even though I was a black belt in another art, man, I had nothing on jiu-jitsu. And it was in that very moment, as we were rolling, just doing something very simple, I realized that, you know what? I think Brendan was right. Maybe jiu-jitsu's in my future. And that was the beginning of my jiu-jitsu journey. In the early parts of my jiu-jitsu training, when We Defy offered that scholarship, there was a coach involved. But I'm gonna tell you that that's synonymous in special operations. It's synonymous in the military. You always have a subject matter expert teaching you something. And it was amazing when we learned about the We Defy Foundation. I mean, to be able to say, look, this is a gift from us to you. You know, the way that We Defy did, I mean, they came to me and they're like, look, we're gonna give you a scholarship just to do this jiu-jitsu thing. And man, I can't stop doing jiu-jitsu. One of the advantages of jiu-jitsu is it doesn't matter what your background is. You'll be very surprised. In my gym, there's only just a few veterans. But the thing is that when I go there, we all have this one thing in common. We've got people of all different walks of life. And when we come together, we're just a tribe. We're a community. And one of the greatest things that We Defy does is it helps us reintegrate into society.
I definitely noticed changes. He started to have a lot more confidence, and I think definitely jiu-jitsu helped him to relax and just do something he loved, because I can tell when he comes home, he's like, yeah, I love jiu-jitsu. Like, I like working with people and stuff.
I think it's opened him up and made him feel better, made him feel healthier. It's mentally, I think it's changed who he is. I don't know which ways, he just seems happier and he looks better. So, I mean, it's just been amazing to watch.
My journey in jiu-jitsu started when my dad started, actually.
One day, she comes up to me and she says, Dad, I want to try some jiu-jitsu. Man, I'll tell you what, bringing her for the first time and seeing her roll, and then how she's been progressing, and now my daughter and I go to jiu-jitsu together. I started, it's very emotional, because that's something that my daughter and I have. And, never been really close with my kids. And it's just super awesome that that's something that we have together.
It's definitely made us more closer, because now we have something to bond over. It's definitely made our relationship a lot closer.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when I retired, I was super isolated. We Defy, man, they catapult me, they propelled me into having a very healthy and social life with other people. And every day I'm looking forward to meeting up with my tribe. That's what We Defy gives, man. That's the gift, that we finally find people that are just like us from all different backgrounds. And I'm gonna be very honest, I don't think I've been this happy in the longest time. And I can't thank We Defy more. I've got a great job. I'm doing something very meaningful and impactful for my country, but I needed something for me. And jiu-jitsu was doing it, and I was starting to feel better. And it started to change my mindset. It helped me stay calmer, more in control, and in many ways, every day I roll kind of saves my life.